to look
Yeah, I'm
past
just
what your
going through the
eyes
live
tell you
here.
is happening.
This phone actually might
Don't see
die.
things moving or
So,
flowing.
dude, I just wanted
See
to get on
energy
here,
states changing in
let you
connected
all
fields.
listen to the
Don't
motivation
think about separate
in the
objects
background
interacting.
as I do some
Think
work,
about different parts
handstand,
of the same
headstand
system
on
affecting
the
each
parallel
other.
bars.
This shift in perspective opens up new possibilities for how we can use energy. Instead of fighting against what we think are the limits of energy transfer, we
Get the
can
range
work
of
with the
motion
natural patterns of energy
out of the
state
shoulder.
changes. We can stop wasting effort trying to move energy
Sink
around
and sit.
and focus on creating the right conditions for useful energy state changes to happen on their own. The illusion of separate energies moving between separate objects has held us back for too long. By breaking free of it, we can start working with energy as it really is, a single interconnected field that we're all part of. This isn't just a different way of thinking about energy. It's the key to using it more effectively than ever before. Your brain is like plastic. It can change and grow. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. Every time you try something new, you create new pathways in your mind. These paths can replace the old routes that led to limitations in your energy field. Think of your comfort zone as a starting point, not a prison cell. Each step outside makes the zone bigger. The walls start to fade. What seemed impossible becomes possible. But watch out for the sneaky ways the mind tries to rebuild those walls. It might say, that was just luck when you succeed. Or, this is too hard when facing challenges. These thoughts are just echoes of the old prison. Look at children playing. They become pilots, astronauts, doctors, and dancers without doubting themselves. They haven't learned to limit their possibilities yet. That freedom still exists in you. It's just hidden behind walls of doubt. Your senses filter reality based on what you expect to see. If you believe something's impossible, your brain might miss opportunities right in front of you. It's like wearing sunglasses indoors and wondering why everything looks dark. Breaking free takes practice. Start noticing your automatic no responses. Question them. Ask yourself, is this true? Or is it just what I'm used to believing? The walls of your perception prison weren't built in a day, and they won't come down in a day either. But every time you question a limitation, try something new, or push past comfort, you weaken those walls. Your true limits are far beyond what your mind tells you. Think of someone who inspired you by doing something impossible. They faced the same mental walls that chose
The floor is lava.
The prison guards are your own thoughts. They patrol the walls
Floor
with
is
weapons
lava.
of doubt, fear, and old habits. But you hold the key to the cell. You can choose different thoughts, take different actions, and write a new story. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about accurate thinking. See things as they are, not as your fears paint them. Notice the opportunities your mind might be filtering out. Your perception of prison might feel solid, but it's made of paper-thin thoughts. You can tear through them with questions, curiosity, and small, brave actions. Each step makes you stronger. Each wall you break shows you what's possible. The world outside your perception prison is bigger than you imagine. It's filled with possibilities your mind might have hidden from view. The door is unlocked. The walls are ready to fall. You just need to take that first step. The quantum mirror shows us something strange about how energy works. Think of a mirror in your bathroom. When you look at it, you see yourself looking back. But what if that mirror could show you all the different ways energy moves and changes? Let's say you're standing in front of this special mirror. Instead of seeing just one reflection, you see countless versions of the same scene. Each reflection shows energy moving in slightly different ways. In one reflection, heat rises from your body.
Get a job, buddy, get a job.
Another, electrical signals pulse through your nerves and cause sparks. In yet another, the atoms in your cells vibrate and dance. This mirror doesn't just show us what's happening now. It shows us what could happen next. Like ripples in a pond, each tiny change in energy creates new move your hand, the mirror shows hundreds of possible paths that energy might take. But here's the weird part. The mirror doesn't just show us these things. It actually affects them too. Just by looking into the mirror, we change how energy moves. Scientists found this out when studying tiny particles. The act of watching them changed how they acted. Think about throwing a ball. Usually you can predict where it will go based on how hard you throw it. But in the quantum world of very tiny things, it's different. The ball could end up in many places at once. And looking at it forces it to pick just one spot. The quantum mirror teaches us that we're not just watching energy, we're part of its dance. Every time we measure something, observe something, or try to control energy, we change it. It's like trying to catch smoke with your hands. The very act of reaching for it changes its shape. This might sound confusing, but it helps explain why some of our attempts to control energy don't work out like we expect. We can't just stand outside and pull strings like a puppet master. We're always in the mirror too, part of the same energy system we're trying to control. Some people who work with energy have started using this idea. Instead of fighting against this strange effect, they work with it. They know that sometimes the best way to direct energy is to step back and let it find its natural path, like water flowing downhill. The mirror also shows us something about time. In its reflections, we can see that energy doesn't just move forward like an arrow. It spreads out in all directions at once, creating webs of connection. Past and future blur together in patterns that look more like a dance than a straight line. This changes how we think about controlling energy. Instead of trying to force it into the shape we want, we can learn to read these patterns.
Feel free
We
to
can spot
comment
the
in.
places where small changes might create big effects, like finding the right spot to tap a crystal glass to make it sing. But the mirror has one more lesson for us. Sometimes, when we look into it expecting to see chaos and confusion, we find surprising order instead. The same patterns keep showing up, like fractals in nature. The way tree branches look like smaller versions of the
The
whole
floor is
tree,
lava.
or how clouds form similar shapes.
Don't
at different
touch the floor.
times. These patterns tell us that even when energy seems random and unpredictable, there might be hidden rules guiding it. Not strict rules like traffic
Comment in,
rules,
comment
but
here.
more like the rules that make birds
Let me
fly
know
in
where you're
formation
from.
or waves break on a beach. The quantum mirror isn't really a mirror you
Shout
buy
outs.
or build. It's a way of seeing how we connect with energy. Every time we try to measure, control, or change energy,
Yeah.
we're looking into this mirror, and what we see looking back isn't just energy.
There you go. Oh, maybe not. New York, New York. Thank you for calling. Good. Live on YouTube at the moment. All right. Well, Happy New Year. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Thanks. Have a good night. Stay safe.
Ourselves connected to everything else through countless threads of cause and effect. This view changes everything about how we work with energy. We stop thinking about energy as
record my
something
audiobook.
separate that we need to control. Instead, we start seeing ourselves as part of energy's
Three more.
Like a leaf in a river, we can guide our movement, but we're still part of the current. The next time you work with energy, imagine looking into the quantum mirror. See all the possibilities spreading out from each moment. Notice how your attention changes what you're watching. And remember that you're not just watching the dance of energy. You're dancing, too. The act of watching changes what we see. This simple truth lies at the heart of quantum physics. But it also shapes our daily lives in ways we rarely notice.
Set two.
Think of a child playing alone. They move freely. dance without care, talk to themselves. Now watch them openly. Their behavior shifts. They become more self-conscious, perhaps showing off or hiding away. This same principle works inside our minds. When we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings, they transform.
Just kidding around.
A headache feels different once
The floor is lava.
Our breathing pattern changes as soon as we notice it. Our walking style adjusts when we think about how we're moving.
One more.
Scientists discovered this effect while studying tiny particles. They found that measuring a particle's position affected its speed, and measuring its speed changed its position. You couldn't know both at once. The very tools used to observe changed what was being observed. But this isn't just about physics. It's about how we experience life. When you're caught up in anger, you're inside the emotion. The moment you step back and notice,
Really, any placement is going to be good for my shoulder here.
shifts.
Sit,
The anger
hang,
doesn't
stretch.
vanish, but your relationship to it changes. You're no longer completely identified with it. This creates a fascinating opportunity. By becoming aware of our patterns and
Be the
how we
monkey.
react, think, and feel, we can introduce a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap lies our freedom to choose differently. Consider what happens when you catch yourself starting to worry. Usually, worry thoughts chain together automatically. One fear leads to another and another. But if you can spot the pattern starting, you can pause it. The simple act of noticing breaks the spell. The same goes for physical tension. Most of us walk around with tight shoulders or a clenched jaw without realizing it. The moment we become aware, we can let go.
Two more.
The observation itself becomes the solution. But there's a catch. We can't observe everything at once. Like those quantum particles, some aspects of our experience become clearer, while others grow fuzzy. That's okay. We can shift our attention as needed, like adjusting the focus on a camera. This brings us to a practical question. What should we observe? The answer depends on what we want to change or understand. If we're trying to break a habit, we might watch for its triggers. If we're learning a skill, we might track our practice patterns. If we're building relationships, we might notice our communication styles. The key is to observe without judgment. Like a scientist collecting data, we want to see what's actually happening, not what we think should be happening. This neutral awareness is what allows natural change to occur. Sometimes the changes are subtle. A slight shift in posture, a small pause before speaking, a gentle relaxation of tension. Other times, they're dramatic, a complete change in behavior or perspective. Either way, they start with observation. This brings us back to where we started.
One more.
The simple act of watching changes what we see. But now we can use this knowledge. We can be more strategic about what we pay attention to and how we observe it. We can use our awareness as a tool for growth and change. The observer effect isn't just a quirk of quantum physics or a psychological curiosity. It's a practical tool we can use every day. By choosing how we observe, we can work with this principle rather than being unconsciously affected by it. Next time you want to change something in your life, start by watching it carefully. Don't try to force change. Just observe with curiosity and patience. Let the power of attention do its work. After all, in the dance between observer and observed, both are always changing. The pictures in our minds shape our reality more than we often notice. Think of your mind like a movie projector, constantly playing films about what you expect to happen. These mental movies affect how we feel, act, and what results we get. Let's look at two different mental movies about the same situation. Picture yourself walking into a room full of people. In one version,
Here was
you
my
see
hat.
yourself as awkward, out of
Burn
place,
in the
with
lava.
others judging. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tense up, and you start feeling anxious before anything has even happened. Now rewind that mental movie. Play a different version. This time you see yourself walking in confidently, connecting easily,
Well, I'm surprised my phone ain't dead.
having good conversations. Notice how your body feels more relaxed and your energy flows better. just by changing the movie in your mind. These mental movies run automatically most of the time. They come from our past experiences, what others told us, and what we decided to believe about ourselves. But here's the interesting part. We can learn to be the director of these inner movies instead of just watching them passively. Start by catching yourself when you're playing negative movies in your mind. Maybe you're about to give a presentation and your mental movie shows you messing up and people laughing. Stop the projection right there. Take a breath. Now, consciously create a new movie where you speak clearly. People listen with interest.
Speak clearly.
The trick isn't to force yourself to think positively all the time. That's not realistic. Instead, become aware of what movies you're playing and how they affect your energy.
Playing.
Some people think this is just wishful thinking, but research shows that our brain responds to mental rehearsal almost the same way it responds to actual experience. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real event and one you vividly imagine. Athletes use this principle when they mentally practice their moves, perfecting their technique without ever stepping onto the field. Musicians do it when they rehearse in their minds, visualizing their fingers moving across an instrument, or their voices hitting every note. Public speakers use it to rehearse their delivery, imagining the energy of the audience and their confidence on stage. Chess players use it to simulate entire games in their minds, anticipating their opponent's moves and their own counter strategies. Even surgeons use this technique, visualizing the precise steps of a complex procedure to ensure a steady hand and focused mind. You can use this same principle to shape your energy, decisions, and actions in any situation, visualizing outcomes so clearly that your brain begins to act as if they're already happening. But there's more to it than just positive thinking. The key is to create mental movies that feel true to you, not fantasy scenes that your mind will reject. If you're learning something new, don't imagine yourself being perfect right away. Instead, see yourself improving step by step, handling challenges with growing skill. Let's try something practical. Think of a situation coming up that usually makes you nervous. Notice what movie your mind automatically plays about it. Now, don't try to jump straight to a perfect scenario. Instead, adjust the movie slightly. If you see yourself failing completely, change it to handling things okay, even if not perfectly. If you picture others criticizing you, adjust it to them being neutral or mildly supportive. Make these new mental movies as detailed as possible. What do you see? What sounds are there? How does your body feel? The more senses you involve, the more real it becomes to your brain. Practice playing these improved versions several times a day. You're not trying to fool yourself. You're training your brain to consider new possibilities. This practice changes your energy field. When you consistently run more supportive mental movies, your nervous system calms down. Your body language changes. You send out different signals to others. Often, reality starts matching your new mental movies more closely. Remember those times when you worried endlessly about something, creating detailed disaster movies in your mind? How much energy did that waste? Now imagine using that same mental power to create helpful scenarios instead. You're not denying challenges might happen. You're just choosing where to focus your mental energy. This isn't about never having negative thoughts. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in what mental movies you play and replay. Each time you catch yourself running an unhelpful movie, you have a chance to change the script. Over time, this becomes more natural. Your mind will still create automatic movies based on old patterns. That's normal. But as you practice being the director of your mental movies, you'll get better at quickly noticing when the old projector starts running and choosing to play something more helpful instead. This skill builds a bridge between where you are now and where you want to be, one scene at a time. The mind creates a constant stream of thoughts, images, and stories. But there's something deeper watching it all unfold. This watching presence is what we truly are. When we recognize this, we start to see that our thoughts and the world they paint aren't as solid or serious as they seem. Think of it like sitting in a movie theater. The screen shows all kinds of scenes. Happy ones, scary ones, exciting ones. But you're just sitting there watching it all. You don't get wet when it rains on screen. The monster can't actually hurt you. In the same way, our thoughts create a movie in our minds, but we are the awareness watching it. This watching presence is always here, in every experience. It's what knows you're reading these words right now. It's what notices your breathing, the sounds around you, the feelings in your body. This awareness doesn't come and go like thoughts do. It's the constant background to all experience. When we mistake ourselves for our thoughts, we suffer needlessly. We believe we are our worries, our plans, our regrets. But these are just temporary appearances in awareness, like clouds passing through the sky. The sky itself, pure awareness, remains untouched. This isn't just an interesting idea. It points to something immediate and practical. Right now, you can notice that you are aware. This awareness is reading these words. What is it that knows these words are appearing? What is it that notices your thoughts about what you're reading? You might say, well, I am aware, but look closer. This I that's aware, can you find it? Or is there just awareness itself, knowing everything that appears? The sense of being a separate me is itself just another appearance in awareness. This is what unity means. Not that everything becomes one blob, but that everything appears within and as awareness itself. The world doesn't disappear. Thoughts and feelings continue. But they're recognized as expressions of awareness, rather than solid, separate things. You can test this right now. Notice a thought. Where does it appear? Not in space. You can't point to where thoughts are located. They appear in awareness. Notice a sound. Where is it known? In awareness. A sensation in the body. Where is it felt? In awareness. Everything you experience appears in and is known by awareness. This might sound abstract, but it's the most concrete thing there is. It's your direct experience right now. You don't need special states or experiences to notice this. You don't need to change anything. Just look and see. What is it that's aware of this moment? When we see this clearly, something shifts. We stop taking thoughts so seriously. We stop believing in a separate self that needs defending. We see that awareness is already complete, already in peace. The movie of experience can play however it plays. This doesn't mean we become passive or stop engaging with life. Action still happens naturally, but it flows from awareness rather than from a contracted sense of self. We respond to life directly instead of through the filter of me and my story. The mind will object, but what about my problems? What about my life? This sounds like escaping reality. But look at your actual experience.
Take your shirt off and
Are you
flex.
escaping anything by noticing you are aware? Or are you seeing reality more clearly by recognizing what you truly are?
Thought I was flexing.
This recognition can deepen over time as we rest more as awareness rather than as a thought-based self.
Put your hat on and flex.
Life becomes simpler.
Put your hat on and
Problems don't
flex, he
disappear,
says.
but they're seen as appearances in awareness rather than as personal burdens. There's more space, more ease, more natural responsiveness. This is our natural state. We don't need to achieve it or get somewhere. We only need to notice what's already here. The aware presence that you are and always have been. Everything appears within this presence.
That's my reminder.
Including the thought that says,
It's my time to go.
this isn't true. So right
I
now,
go record my audiobook.
simply notice.
It was fun. It was fun playing on the bars with y'all. Monkey bars. Be a monkey, y'all. Go get on the monkey bars. Do your breath work. Go really giggle. And your, which one? Which one is it? Where's my friend telling me the dog's breath? Pant like a dog. Pump your belly. Horse breath. All right, that's it for me. If you don't know the channel, subscribe with me down below or above or side or left or right. God bless y'all. Much respect. Fight fearless. Happy New Year. Peace.